What we think is going to be the most disruptive for the next few years in the water space is for these smaller utilities that don't have the ability to make the capital investment of even if it's in our hardware. We believe metering as a service will be transformative for the industry. And with Amazon Sidewalk being a free infrastructure option, it is really the only way in our minds for a truly profitable relationship for the company and the utility.
Welcome to the Make Water Work podcast, where we dive into the people, ideas, and innovations shaping the future of water. I'm your host, Isaac Pellerin, and alongside my co-host, Megan Glover, the founder of 120 Water, we bring you insights from hundreds of incredible conversations we've had over the past 9 years with inspiring and energizing leaders in the water industry. Each week, we share those stories and conversations with entrepreneurs, community champions, and innovators who are making water work for everyone. Whether you're a water professional, a curious innovator, or simply passionate about our most precious resource, this podcast is for you. Let's get started. Welcome to the Make Water Work podcast, where we celebrate those serving and innovating in the water industry. We love getting to have conversations with amazing people. And so, Megan, what amazing person do we get to speak to today?
Yes. So today we are speaking to an incredible CEO, Anne Mushow, and she is the CEO of Subeca, which is a smart metering company that we'll talk about because I'm not giving it nearly enough justice as it deserves. But I've known Anne not terribly long, but a couple years, and have always admired her leadership, her innovative approach to the market, and how she's building Subeca, what they're trying to do. And most importantly, she is a self-proclaimed water nerd and certified badass woman of water. So without further ado, Anne, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's my favorite thing to get to talk to other startup friends about water things. So thanks so much for the time.
Talk or commiserate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The trenches.
The trenches, yeah. Right? We are so excited to have you here. And we always kick off every show asking our guests the same question because we love the responses that we get. How did water find you, Anne?
Yeah. So I'm an engineer by training, electrical engineer by training. And I figured out very early in my career, I really loved figuring out what was wrong with broken things. And I ended up at Census as a failure analysis engineer, understanding why electric meters, water meters, and gas meters were finding challenges in the field. And through that process, I gravitated toward water and helping the water customers in particular really adopt technology to make it easier for them to operate. I got to spend a lot of time in the field, see what their day-to-day life was like. It's amazing to me that this still very much functions as 100-year-old technologies for many operators in the US, which is wild considering where we are on the scale of digital transformation. And ultimately, for me, I just want to empower water utilities with more information because so many times they could operate more efficiently as the challenges grow, whether that be climate change, demand, all of that. They just are balancing so many things. And so I've stuck with it, ended up at Subeca doing fun and innovative stuff to try to change that. And I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon.
I know. Well, water has a way of doing that to you, right? It's magnetic. So you mentioned you're at Subeca now, and we'll talk about kind of that journey from Census there. But I'm curious, for those that may not be familiar with your fun and smart technology that you're bringing to market, educate us. What do you do, and what problem are you solving for utilities?
Absolutely. So our goal at Subeca is to make legacy infrastructure smart really, really fast and simply for water utilities. And so we've created a plug and play IoT platform that enables utilities to get smart water data back, whether that be their metering data or water quality, other types of information they need to operate. And we do that through multiple network options. We've found that there is no silver bullet when it comes to communications for water data. And when you put things out in the field, connectivity optionality is key.
Yeah.
And so we've built our technology with Amazon Sidewalk as well as LoRaWAN and Bluetooth all built right in. And so utilities can adopt what they need at the rate that they need to, really making it attainable for utilities that have been historically locked out of digital transformation.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's phenomenal. Because when you think about the smart water or smart metering space, there's either a lot of upfront investment. It's a big capital project, but from what I understand of the model, it's just a lot more accessible and flexible, because you're not choosing just one communications path for meter reading or getting any of that information. I still see a meter reader walk by my house here in Indianapolis once a month. Sometimes I see a yellow vest.
Yep.
Someone with a device, and I think they're getting a radio signal off of my meter. I actually haven't looked, but yeah, it's a fascinating technology and workflow that you're solving.
Yeah, it's a very interesting problem to solve, given particularly the U.S. market, but all over North America. It's very fragmented. You've got utilities that have hundreds of thousands of service connections, and then you have HOAs, which are functioning with a few hundred service connections that they need to support. So as you can imagine, the working backwards problem that they're trying to solve are vastly different depending on which segment you're really trying to help. And so for us, the goal was to create something that was highly interoperable that could be tailored to meet that utility where they are. They may still be on that AMR journey that you talk about there, Isaac, and they want to go to AMI, but that feels like this big rip and replace, and let's take everything out and start from scratch. And so many municipalities don't have the funds or the rate case or the energy to make the rate case to really make that kind of investment.
Yeah.
And so we've made technology that was highly adaptable, retrofit, plug and play, so they can use what they have and get the remaining useful life. Maybe they want to start off with our AMI options over Bluetooth until they get comfortable with AMI. All of that is built into our hardware to enable that technology, and the software makes that easy for them.
And what I love about that in particular, especially for the US market, is that it's really so much of the market is the rural water market. That is the market. And so when you're building solutions, a lot of times innovators coming to the table with a solution, they're thinking about how this transforms the industry, but it's really only applicable or adaptable by a handful of large systems. Right. So the challenge is how do you scale down, not how you scale up.
Right.
And I think when I first heard of Subeca, I was like, it's brilliant because it's not that it meets a need of massive scale for a large city. It's that it's able to meet the long tail, which is scale.
Which is the long tail is the market.
Exactly.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
It really is. There are 40,000 water utilities in the United States alone that have 10,000 or under service connections. The market is the tail, as Megan just highlighted. And for many of those folks, implementing either a CapEx heavy infrastructure plan where they have to put the towers up themselves, put up a mesh network, they don't have the bandwidth to either implement or continue to manage that infrastructure. And certainly the cost is a challenge. Or if they go the other route to look at the cellular option, then that shifts to an ongoing OpEx intensive capitalization plan. And so that becomes really difficult for them to justify with their ratepayers. So what we've done is try to blend the best of those. And I'll highlight Amazon Sidewalk here. Amazon Sidewalk is a completely free infrastructureless network that Amazon has built into the consumer products that they sell in the market. And so Ring floodlight cameras or doorbells, Echo devices actually have gateways built into them, and they can collect a small amount of data through those. And we're leveraging that. And so that ongoing OpEx
Yep.
of cellular isn't at play. The infrastructure front end doesn't exist. The network's already out there and working in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And so we're just leveraging something that's there to make it much more affordable, but also much, much easier for them to implement.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to stay on. Thank you so much for bringing up Amazon, because I wanted to bring this up on the forefront, because I think seeing big tech in water gets me really excited, because more big tech that's name recognizable, I think, draws attention to our industry. It helps us build on technologies on top of existing infrastructure that is known and proven in other industries. So, Anne, can you walk us through how that relationship with Amazon even came to be about? I mean, did you seek them out? Did they seek you out? Like, anything you can share? Because I just think when I saw that news that Amazon was getting in water, and then, Subeca announced, I was like, yay, it's finally coming together. What can you just, share a little bit of how that all happened?
Absolutely. So I was actually at Amazon Web Services, working in their business utilities group are very focused on utilities, how utilities and their partners adopt cloud technology. And Sidewalk was launched during my time there. And having worked at Census and run deployment services for Census for North America, I just knew that would be a game changer. Putting these networks up is difficult. It requires a lot of project management, consultancy, all these things. It's just really expensive. And so for me, it was, this is an exciting disruptor with a big partner with Amazon who knows how to operate at scale. They understand complexity at that scale. And so I just knew it would be disruptive. And Subeca actually crossed my desk. They were implementing Sidewalk. They were one of the first adopters. And frankly, they recruited me away from Amazon because I knew that it could really help and change the space. While I was at Amazon, though, I was working with their water and sustainability team because they wanted more water data. Amazon itself has a huge commercial real estate footprint. As you can imagine, that's in thousands of different water utilities throughout the North America, as well as all over the globe. They were trying to get more water data for themselves to meet their own sustainability goals, like water positive by 2030. And they were just struggling. And part of that was because the utilities didn't have the data to provide to Amazon at the granularity they needed. Amazon wanted that type of data and wanted to help the utilities get it. And so it just created this amazing triangle for us of let's create a technology that works really well for utilities, but the commercial and industrial operators can use it as well. And so that was where we partnered. Amazon Climate Pledge actually invested in us for our Series A because we created an ultrasonic clamp-on metering device that is completely non-disruptive, which is key for Amazon. They cannot have operation centers or data centers down, but we can get them the hourly water data that they need to understand leaks and really manage their consumption and usage that then can be scaled across. Then the utilities that are supplying water to those facilities have more data because Amazon will work and help invest and help them adopt technologies. And it just became this great little triangle of assistance for technological adoption that has helped footprints that just have never had access to it before. I love that story, and I would love to have been a fly on the wall when whomever at Amazon would say, what do you mean I can't get that data from the water operator? What do you mean? We're getting all of this data from all of our, infrastructure and our system. What do you mean I can't get that from my water utility? It was probably eye-opening to them how analog the operations of the utility space really still is. Absolutely. And I do think, especially an organization as technologically advanced as Amazon, it was truly eye-opening. They have the budgets and the capacity, the manpower to implement these types of solutions. They still need it to be non-disruptive and simple to use. But to see what the utilities were up against and the data granularity, in many cases, it was quarterly reads. I know one of the utilities we've helped with Amazon's assistance was reading twice a year. That was the most they could read. And so we've now implemented our solution with them. They're getting hourly reads from their meters. We got a note from them over the winter that they typically wouldn't read during the winter because they didn't want to have to dig the pits out to do the visual reads. And now they're getting hourly reports. It's been transformative to identify leaks as the thaw sets in. So it's great to have that real time success. And certainly Amazon is accomplishing their sustainability goals by assisting these utilities to get the data for them to operate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm learning, so much. And I think you guys in your solution sets evolving, so rapidly as I would expect any startup, like approaching the market, the right way. But I mean, how, can you double click a little bit more on, how your technology is really differentiated against kind of the existing smart technology that we have out there? Because, I'm hearing, a lot more like it's not just metering that you're attacking leak detection, you're attacking water quality. And I think that is such a novel approach. It's like, let's not be single threaded in one real-time data source. Let's try to tap into all of the sources that are actually out there that we need to collect data on and then make, richer decisions because of it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just think you're such a differentiated product on the market that I'd love for you to kind of explain how you do differ from some other smart technologies and how you're, trying to, provide, a better solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So our goal for simplicity really meant that we needed to be flexible as a technology. So to make it simple for this highly diversified market, that means that we have to have a lot of optionality for what we implement.
Okay.
And so on the network side, we have implemented Amazon Sidewalk, but we also mentioned have built in LoRaWAN as a backup option. There are utilities that aren't comfortable fully depending on Amazon Sidewalk or in really deeply rural applications. They don't have quite enough reach. And so we have the LoRaWAN gateway option, private or managed, for them to adopt what they need, again, at the scale for where they are. We also implemented AMR with our thinking was a bit of a backup reading methodology. Let's say you don't get a read for the month. Instead of having to put eyes on the meter, collect it from close range. What that's transformed for us is that customers who are more comfortable starting at AMR and taking a slow walk on the journey are able to do that. And so that's been really transformative for some of our customers.
Love that.
Based on that, we've also built our platform with very intentional optionality. The same smart register option, our wireless PIN, works across a wide variety of OEM meter form factors. Whether you have Census or Badger or Neptune, the same smart register will work with just a different adapter and then configuration with a mobile app, whether you use that on your Android or iOS-based tablet or phone. All of that implementation is done with configuration in close range. And then we also have an MIU or basically a radio unit that can plug into static meters. Again, we work across a wide variety of static meters. And so when you think about the prototypical small municipality who's been buying the most cost-effective meters that they could, the best technology that they, when they needed to make replacements, they may have a highly varied meter footprint. And so these technologies will enable them to make any of that smart without a full replacement. Again, remaining useful life concept. That endpoint unit that I mentioned, however, also has the ability to connect to other types of devices. And so for us, the roadmap looks like water pressure monitoring, that with that same device that is simply configurable for a particular type of pressure sensor, water quality sensor, level sensor. And so what we've created in the hardware is something that's very simple and comfortable for utilities deployed. It's form factors that they're familiar with, but can then be used in a variety of different applications as they want to do more and gather more information. We try to do that in a stage appropriate way. We are still a startup. We can't do everything. But we're making AMI attainable, and then everything else for them can follow. We can add in pressure. They can add in water quality or level sensing as they want to. And our goal is to really enable across the spectrum. The last thing I'll mention is even for some of the large utilities that have AMI already, there remain some really hard to reach locations as well.
Yeah.
And we've decided to be super flexible so that you could use our technology with other AMI. And so if you're using cellular, if you're using a fixed network, but that last 3 to 5% is in terrible terrain or a hard to reach basement, we offer a really cost effective way to get that last little percentage of meters for infill. And we've designed our software to be highly connectable upstream, whether it's directly to an MDMS or a billing system or any of those types of things. We just want to enable data to go back, let you use that data where you need it, and then operate as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
So our cool technology and innovation enables utilities to use what they want. It's almost IoT a la carte is the way we talk about it a little bit.
And again, it really reinforces that principle. And the thing that we've always believed is that what's most important is being able to meet the market where it's at, and not and create the journey in accessible steps. Sometimes we pitch visions of, and I'm all for like 2050, what can water look like? We can pitch that, but we also need to design solutions as innovators, as businesses that say, that's great for 2050. For today, here's what you can do. Here's tomorrow what you can do, and making it more accessible. That is the job that we have as innovators, is to say, we want to show you a vision, and we also want to show you how to get there.
Yeah. And with an accessible business model. I mean, I love, I think if you look at the most successful companies of the most recent generations, I mean, what is it? Uber is a taxi company that doesn't own a single car. Airbnb is a real estate business that doesn't own a single property. You have these layer of businesses that are built on top of existing infrastructure. So you don't have to worry about being the one to supply the infrastructure. You just have to be the one about building a wonderful business on top of it, which is what I love about what you're doing. You're putting your efforts on what's going to be most valuable and durable for your customers in the market. So that's what I love about it.
To that point, Megan, in particular, where what we think is going to be the most disruptive for the next few years in the water space is for these smaller utilities that don't have the ability to make the capital investment of what, even if it's in our hardware. We believe metering as a service will be transformative for the industry. And with Amazon Sidewalk being a free infrastructure option, it is really the only way in our minds for a truly profitable relationship for the company and the utility. It really makes that attainable. There is nothing to manage. There is not ongoing field support that's required. And so a way to get that data back, which is what the utility ultimately needs, without the huge investment that, I know many of the OEMs have looked at their ability to do NAS or MAS at scale, and it becomes cost prohibitive. When that infrastructure piece is taken off the table with a partner like Amazon, who already has a footprint out there at scale, 95% of the population of the United States is covered by Sidewalk right now, and it's just growing. Ultimately, that makes those types of innovative business models possible and attainable for companies. So
that's exciting. Yeah. And you just may have described a solution. We've had multiple finance folks on the podcast, because as we know, funding, it's just a critical issue in our sector. There's not enough funding. Funding is not the sole answer. We have to meet funding plus solutions plus better operational excellence. And I think you're an example of an actual solution that can provide, an answer to some of this.
I think it was a Bluefield's research report that was talking about between 2020 and 2030, the expenditure for utilities moves from 50-50 OPEX CAPEX to more 65% OPEX over CAPEX. And so there's an opportunity for utilities to buy something like metering as a service. It opens up the door for service growth, because that is more, again, meets the moment that the market is creating. It's just where it's moving.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love to not miss the opportunity, speaking of entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs, building businesses, selling to municipalities. What has that journey been like for you? I mean, from Census to Xylem to Amazon and now startup selling into municipalities. How have you found it?
So for me, I think all of those experiences have built on each other to create a situation where I feel a bit like a kid in a candy store running a startup that's really able to help water utilities. My time at Census was spent, as I mentioned, in failure analysis and quality for a while. That having that foundationally build into me the importance of having high quality product, particularly for the utility industry, which is highly risk averse, dealing with municipalities that it's always easier to not do anything than to do something innovative, means that high quality bar is crucial for everything that we do here. And then going from that to deployment services, I feel like I'm moving up the customer relationship chain through my career, but working with their deployments, and understanding the difficulty, the project management, the rollout complexity, getting access for the Northeast inside sets, all those types of things were super critical to helping me understand how difficult this market is and why it's difficult. It's not just if you gloss over it as a VC of, well, utilities are hard. There's a lot of really great reasons that it is difficult. And so making sure you understand those and address that with the solution is really super important. Being at Amazon laid a lot of the principles of like working backwards. And so, as I mentioned, I have this deep understanding. I can work backwards from those problems and impart that with our teams of this is truly what they're up against day to day. Let's create a solution that actually solves that problem. Has been super helpful for our team. But our software group, also, many of them spent time at AWS. And so they very tech forward, very thoughtful, innovative in what they adopt. We use quite a bit of generative AI to help us go faster and keep our team super lean. But we have a partner like Amazon that helps us do that fast and at scale. It has been a wonderful layer cake to build, absolutely. To end up in the spot of, in my time at Big Corp, the thing was always, I wanted to innovate faster. I wanted to listen to my customer more and deliver. And so for us to be able to do that, to get a request from a customer that they wanted X feature, they really needed Y for this reason, and to be able to turn that in 4 weeks and deliver and have a field trial and have them say, I've never had an OEM be able to deliver that for me before. That's what I consider a true win. I believe that level of customer service is what utilities deserve and haven't had for 100 years. And so that for me has been the most rewarding.
Shortening the distance from hearing the pain and delivering the solution.
It's why 120 Water exists. I'm like, you don't have these basic tools that we've been using in other industries. My gosh, you're providing the most precious resource we're consuming. Like, you deserve better tools, Yeah. Well, we're lucky to have you in our ecosystem doing just that. Speaking of like the ecosystem, if you could wave your magic wand and identify like a few things that would help you and your business move faster.
Yeah, I think for us, it's always interesting. We're a hardware heavy product line, which was intentional for our part. I personally and Patrick Keeney, our former CEO, had worked with lots of water startups, and he was a consultant for a long time. But his favorite phrase is that consultants will say, "Give me your watch and I'll tell you the time." And it feels that way for many software solutions. If you need the data from the utility for the solution to be effective and useful, we wanted to go the other way. We wanted to provide the data and then build the usefulness on top of that. And so that's how we've rotated. But what that means is we are in many ways working against 100-year-old incumbents. Many of them are innovating, but where we could go faster for utilities is cross-functional collaboration. And there just isn't a lot of tendency in that space. We've seen exceptions. We've seen fantastic exceptions with a few of the partnerships we've been able to establish. But we do have uniqueness and optionality, and we have intentionally not been precious in where we are willing to pipe and connect our data, because that's what's best for the utility. And I think there is a mindset of there is a certain size of pie, and everybody needs to get their slice. But in reality, the breadth of problems that are seen by the water municipalities, particularly at the smaller scale, is so broad that there is a ton of opportunity where cross collaboration really enables them to all move faster.
Yeah.
And so we've leaned into those partnerships with other startups like Current Software, where they have a billing and customer portal. We're happy to put our data there. We've even created a construct of simplified billing for the end customer, where they don't pay us for their software platform. They pay us through Current. Those types of collaborations could be transformative, instead of the territorial one size fits all mega corp. All of the solutions have to come from one. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. The ability for the market to shift, as you highlighted, Isaac, around more CapEx, or less CapEx and more OpEx optionality will help with that, because software solutions are much easier to implement. And so we'll see how those partnerships unfold, but it's certainly what's best for our operators in the utility space.
Could not agree more. I mean, to the point where I think talk about cross-functional, sometimes I feel like there's even walls that separate these functions, and no one like infrastructure definitely doesn't talk to water quality or customer service, even though you're using some of the same data. And it's mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how do you get your location data? Or customers like, oh, we don't. Or if we do, sometimes it's like a one-time pull. And it's like, is it right? It's amazing to me, like how physically siloed a lot of the operations are inside a utility.
For sure.
So could not agree more on and share that sentiment.
Yeah, and I love the way you phrase that. Again, it just echoes the sentiment of having an abundance mindset over a scarcity mindset. Like we don't need to have a scarcity mindset when the mission is what's driving us. And so I think that's really what we end up appreciating about conversations with folks like you, is like it just bleeds or exudes that what's central is customer experience. What's central is the mission, and you build the business around the needs that ends up dictating.
Yep. Okay. Well, Anne, bring us home. If you could, if we're sitting here 5 years from now reading Subeca's press release, what would it say?
Yeah, I think our goal is maximum connectivity in the next 5 years, whether that is for municipalities or commercial operators who now need to operate as mini utilities because of their large footprints, their own constraints internally. It is connectivity with ease. We call it an Amazon-like experience for water data, and that's our goal. So Subeca becomes the solution of choice for water infrastructure connectivity. Whatever kind of data you need back, you've got multiple networks to do that with plug and play level configurability. That's where we'll be. And it'll be global. Amazon Sidewalk for us has expanded this year to Canada and Mexico. By the end of the year, we'll be in the EU, UK, New Zealand, Australia with Sidewalk. And so for us, that goes global. And certainly with our footprint, we're deploying for Amazon globally now in the EU and India. We'll be looking at other water constrained regions as they roll out further. And we hope that the municipalities follow. So easy connectivity, Amazon-like, take it out of the box, plug it in, configure and go. That's our goal.
Let's do it. Well, can't wait to follow that journey.
I love it.
Well, great. And where can people find you?
So we're super easy to find. Subeca.com is our website. We're also always keep everybody updated on LinkedIn on our page. We have a lot of very exciting opportunities coming up this year for us. Being named Amazon Smart Metering Playbook was just announced. And so keep an eye out there for sure,
Okay.
and on our website for news and events.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for joining this conversation. It's just always a pleasure to see you in person, and today to have this conversation virtually. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Make Water Work podcast. These are important conversations that we love having, and we love that you get to listen in. And so if you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, follow, comment. Let us know if there's anyone else you want to hear from who makes water work, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Make Water Work podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. Connect with us on LinkedIn or send us a message. Together, we can make water work for everyone.